Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who has joined us here on the program today. Folks, we have a lot to talk about as we normally do. Before we get into that, I want to start off this program with the nation's national anthem, and just prior to that, the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The Barbershop Quartet Convention hosts gave us the Pledge of Allegiance. We want to thank our men and women in the United States Armed Forces, wherever they might be around the globe. We also want to thank our allied armed forces, wherever they might be as well. Thank you for your service. May you all return home to your families in safety when your tours of duty come to an end. And we mean that. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Folks, we have quite a bit we're going to be discussing this evening. As I said last night, September is National Preparedness Month here in the United States and also around the world. I want to talk about emergency preparedness tonight, but before that, I want to talk about earthquakes. I want to talk about hurricanes. And folks, we have a lot to say about that as well. I want to play this video for you that is going to talk about the hurricane off the coast of Florida and the eastern United States. This is the Weather Channel. I'm sorry, I've been through this. I was all set up to play this hurricane program for you, but I guess they're going to stop and force me to let you see this commercial about tires from eBay Motors. Yes, eBay is a good company. Anyway, here it is. Let me turn up the sound here for you.
Look at Hurricane Lee, now a Category 5 storm. In the past 24 hours, the wind speed has doubled. So rapid intensification has certainly happened. There's a look at the official track, and notice what's interesting. This is expected to stay a Category 5 through the weekend. The forecast intensity is really just unbelievable, with really by later today and Saturday, winds are expected to get as high as 180 miles per hour. So this is very much a monster storm, still sitting well out into the Atlantic, about 700 miles north of the Leeward Islands. Now, there's a look at the forecast models. They haven't veered much, still pulling this storm to the north.
Okay, these are the spaghetti models that we've talked about whenever we've talked about hurricanes. This is a computer projection of where Hurricane Lee could go.
North, which is good news. Tropical storm force winds right now extend out about 160 miles. Hurricane force winds extend out over 60 miles. So with that, and the wind field is expected to grow as this moves off to the west, the Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, certainly Bermuda, need to watch closely because they could get some effects from this. We already know for the western Atlantic what we'll see. Well, we're going to see those waves come up, and this is going to make for dangerous beach conditions.
Dangerous beach conditions, meaning storm surge and rip currents. Stay out of the water. Again, I said this before, I'm saying it again now. Stay out of the water. Look at where the storm surge conditions reach, down into central Florida, the east coast of central Florida, all up and down Florida to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, going almost up into New York.
Also, this storm is far away, so the models could change the track way too early to tell.
Okay, it's way too early to tell. Okay, I wanted you to hear that. Even though we have those spaghetti models and that storm allegedly turning north, it's way too early to say exactly what is going to happen with this storm. Now I want to play another video for you if you will just stand by with me for a minute. I want to tell you about another term for a storm that merges with other storms. Okay? I want you to know what is going on. That is the purpose of this program, and as a result of what information that I've been able to find, you deserve to know. Okay? You guys deserve to know.
Most people have no clue that in
The kid do
2023
not.
the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products.
Okay, I'm sorry.
At the peak of hurricane season, it's a pretty common sight to see 2 or even 3 tropical cyclones or hurricanes at once. And some of you have so eloquently wondered, what happens if 2 hurricanes collide? I'm meteorologist Jason Myers, and while 2 tropical cyclones can interact with one another, it's actually pretty rare. But when 2 storms do come into contact, there's a name for it, the Fujiwara effect, named after the Japanese meteorologist who first described the phenomenon. And while a lot of us would like to imagine 2 giant hurricanes merging to form one mega hurricane, the likes we've never seen, it doesn't really work that way. But here's how it does. Science! When two low pressure systems get close enough, 1,200 miles for your everyday run-of-the-mill low or 870 miles for two tropical cyclones, they begin to do a bit of a dance. The centers of these storms begin to move counterclockwise around a point right in between. If both storms are the same size, this effect may just change their trajectory. But if one storm is much smaller than the other, then the bigger storm is going to absorb the smaller one. That's exactly what happened in 2005 when Hurricane Wilma absorbed Tropical Storm Alpha off the East Coast. If that wasn't too impressive, the 1995 hurricane season was a regular homecoming dance in the Atlantic. At one point, there were not 1, 2, 3, or 4 storms, but 5. Humberto, Iris, and Jerry, as well as the waves that would later become Karen and Lewis. Hurricane Iris, being a little smaller, weakened after a dance with Humberto, but later re-strengthened and went on to absorb Tropical Storm Karen a week later. The Fujiwara effect can simply alter a storm's course, or it can cause one storm to consume another one altogether. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, head to our YouTube channel and subscribe for more videos just like this one.
Okay? I found that earlier today. The reason I have played this for you is I also found some other information last night that I want to make you aware of. I want to make you aware of, and I think it's important information, or I would not even be sharing this.
Evening, Thursday evening, Friday morning. I'm doing this off this tracker over here where my cursor is. See that? Friday, watch. Saturday the 9th, Saturday midday, Saturday evening. Just watch, guys. Sunday the 10th, Sunday midday, Sunday evening, early Monday morning the 11th. What's popping up? Midday Monday, evening, early morning Thursday the 12th, midday Thursday, Thursday evening, 13th on Wednesday. Y'all seeing this? 14th on Thursday. Are y'all seeing this? Thursday evening, early Friday morning, the 15th. Are y'all seeing this, right? Midday Friday on the 15th. Boom. And what does it have in its path? Now, where is that some bitch named Lee? Right here.
Do you understand? Do you see what's happening? This is the same forecasting map that I have. It's called Windy.
Where is Lee?
Look where it's forecast to go. Okay? I have this same forecasting software. I even played with it today and I got the same results. Okay? Look where this storm could head. I wanted to let you see the Weather Channel information because the spaghetti models have it turning before it hits the coast, even though we are expecting to have storm surge, heavy rain, and heavy seas and rip currents along the shores of the eastern continental United States. Look where this storm is. Remember us talking about the outside, the outer rain bands? Look where the outer rain bands are hitting. Over in south central eastern Florida, all the way up to Georgia, South and North Carolina, all the way to New York. The outer rain bands of Hurricane Lee could strike the United States. And if this model holds with what it says, this would mean a strike of Hurricane Lee in Georgia and or South Carolina. A direct hit. I wanted to make sure that you saw this. I think this is very indicative of what could happen. I hope everything I hope everything could happen where it will turn north and not hit the eastern shores of the United States. Because if it does, the outer rain bands will be seen all the way down into east central Florida and all the way up to New York. This will be the largest hurricane storm that will have ever hit the United States. This could be a #1 hurricane to ever hit the United States. Okay? Now, I will keep this information. I will hold on to this information because I believe it's very, very important. I wanted to show it to you. Some people say no way it won't happen. But with the forecasting information that I have as well, it shows that it could happen. It very well could happen. Regardless of what the National Weather Service or the other international weather forecast services that are available say in the spaghetti models, the computer models, that it will head north, it could make a direct impact on the eastern shores of the U.S. Okay? Hurricane Heather's in the chat right now. They clocked waves of 100 feet in the eye of the storm this morning. The United States Air Force sent its hurricane plane out into the middle of the storm. 100-foot waves. So if this storm does make landfall, you could see waves of probably 50 to 60 feet high, which made the storm surge over in the bend of Florida in the Gulf of Mexico seem like making pancakes. If this hits eastern shores of the U.S., we're in for real trouble. Okay? When they get this big and strong, Lyle Wiley's in our chat. When they get this big and strong, they go wherever they want to go, regardless of whatever the computer models say. Okay? Never say never. Never say never. Space Force Al is here in the chat. The water is hotter than it ever has been here in this part of the Atlantic. As long as there is warm water that is available, this hurricane will continue growing in strength. Right now it is at a Category 5 as of earlier this morning. It could grow in intensity. The United States SAFR models do not have anything past or higher than a Category 5. This could surpass anything that's ever been predicted in the past and will cause the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service to alter their form making. And then they will have to come up with a Category 6 or even a Category 7. Okay? I just want you to know what's going on. This is a very serious storm. It's out over the Bahamas right now. It's down there in the Bahamas. It passed the Leeward Islands and they got beat up heavily. The U.S. Virgin Islands is next. The U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. The outward bands of this hurricane could strike the Dominican Republic as well. And then it could go up into Cuba and Florida. It still remains to be seen exactly what will happen with Hurricane Lee. but I thought you deserved to see what I have seen and deserved to know what I know. Okay? I've been watching these storms for a very long time. Before the end of this program this evening, I will be talking about disasters and disaster planning with each and every one of you. I want you all to take notes. This is imperative that you take notes. Okay, with that said, I want to go down to the USGS map. I know you hate it and I hate it as well. I can't stand that agency at all. Okay? It's the worst agency that I have ever seen. I didn't used to say that at all. Okay? What you see here is New Zealand down here. There are 20 earthquakes. 20 earthquakes on or around New Zealand right now. None of them are over a 3.26. 3.26, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you where it is right now. The 3.26 is down here in the Bay of Plenty, what we have lovingly referred to as the catcher's mitt here in New Zealand. That's where the 3.26. Most of the earthquakes are down here on the north-south end of the North Island, right in this area here. There are some earthquakes over here on the northwestern shores of the South Island. There's one earthquake down here in the South Park National Park area here of New Zealand. Down here. It's only a 3.1. Okay? So they do not have any major earthquakes at all. Yet. However, north of New Zealand, up here in the Kermadec Islands, this earthquake came out as a 6.9. USGS has subsequently downgraded it to a 6.6. I have seen data that suggest a 7.1 to a 7.2 earthquake. Already they've downgraded it 30%. I believe this earthquake may have been stronger than that. This is the largest earthquake of the day, and it's down here in the Kermadec Islands. Now, we've talked about the Kermadec Islands before. The Kermadec Islands, folks, are a bird sanctuary. They're a bunch of islands north of New Zealand. There's nothing but birds on those islands. Occasionally, scientists will go there during a high tide so they can get there and get off the island before low tide. Low tide, they would see rocks and they would be tossed to and fro in the rocks and be killed. That's why nobody lives in this bird sanctuary area in the Kermadec Islands. But we're still getting this earthquake here today, a 6.9. And I'm going to keep it as a 6.9 for talk of these earthquakes today, because I do not believe it's a 6.6. Regardless of what this stupid agency wants to call it, they don't know what they're talking about. Give me a second. I got to turn on the lights here. We have a storm coming in here to North Carolina. We have some heavy overcast conditions right now, and it shut down our lighting here. Give me just a second. In fact, it's raining. It is, in fact, raining here in Morganton, North Carolina, where I live. And it looks like it's fairly heavy rain as well. Anyway, guys, this is the biggest earthquake of the day. You see some other smaller quakes, and folks, this is a 6.9. There are other earthquakes here as well. USGS is not showing them to you. This earthquake I have highlighted right next to this 6.9 is a 4.9 5.0. USGS has it listed as a 4.9. Folks, it's not a 4.9. It's at least a large 5.0 to 5.1, maybe even a 5.2 earthquake, and there's multiple. There are multiple earthquakes around this. Whenever we have a 6 point whatever it is, the 6.0s to 6.9s are considered to be very strong earthquakes, regardless of what happens. USGS wants us to show just one earthquake. Wrong. There's a dozen other smaller aftershocks from this quake. Okay? They can say whatever they want, but they are lying through their frickin' teeth, just like this administration. Going further north into South Fiji Islands, we have here a 5.0 earthquake. Again, USGS has it listed as a 4.9. They're full of crap. Going north, this is also in the eastern Fiji region. This is a moderate 4.3. It's 349 miles deep. This is a very deep earthquake. This 4.3 will propagate within the next 72 hours to 10 days. This 4.3 moderate earthquake will propagate to a stronger, more shallow earthquake. I expect to see a 5.3 to a 5.5 magnitude earthquake as a result of this 4.3 today in Fiji. We're going up to Tonga now. This is a 5.2. It came out as a 5.4. It may also be much stronger. Okay? This is near Whangali-Onga, Tonga. Okay? This is 136 miles deep. This is down in the asthenosphere just as that other 5.0 or 4.3 is. Down in the liquid magma, the plastic magma beneath the crust of the earth that you and I walk on. Okay? This could possibly generate a 5.6 to 5.7 earthquake. It's not that deep, but it is a big earthquake. Okay? It is a big earthquake. It's out in the ocean. It was not anywhere close to land. 93 miles west-northwest of Whangali-Unga in Tonga. Now I'm trying to I know some Tongan. I've been around Tongans for a great long time. And so I'm trying to pronounce those words and those towns and cities in Tonga and Fiji correctly. I'm doing my best. Over here in Papua New Guinea, USGS isn't showing any earthquakes. There is one. It's a moderate 4.3 here. Okay? A moderate 4.3 here in Papua New Guinea. They're also not showing earthquake 1 here in Indonesia. Folks, they are lying through their proverbial teeth. They are lying through their teeth. I am very disappointed in the USGS. I'm very disappointed in the USGS. Folks, this is what's going on over in Indonesia today. There's not one single earthquake right now in the Philippines. There were earthquakes in the Philippines yesterday. there are 25 earthquakes here in Indonesia, and USGS does not show a single one. What a crock of crap. What a crock of crap. Okay? Now, yes, those earthquakes are 2s and 3s. 3.1, 2.5, 2.8, 3.7, 3.1. Over in Java, Indonesia, we have a 2.8 here. Java, Indonesia, 2.8. Over in Sumatra, on land in Sumatra, we have a 2.5 here. There's a 2.5 right there. Okay? Just off the coast of Sumatra, we have a 3.5 and a 3.8 off the coast. None of these earthquakes are of great consequence in Indonesia, and maybe that's why USGS is not showing them. It's still a crock of crap. Now I'm going up into the Northern Mariana Islands, right here. USGS is showing this one. This is near the Mog Islands of the Northern Mariana Islands. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. This is also 92 miles deep. 92 miles deep. Over here in Japan, USGS is showing a 4.4 here. Toksuga, Japan. This is in the southern Ryukyu Islands, south of Japan. This is showing as 7 miles deep. Let me show you something. There are over 100 earthquakes over here right now. Over 100 earthquakes there. Look at that. Over 100 earthquakes there, and USGS shows one earthquake. What a bunch of crap that is. It's nothing but crap, guys. Look at this. There's a 5.0 earthquake there. There's one 5.0 earthquake right there. Look at all these other earthquakes around. Look at that. 50 plus earthquakes right there. I just opened it up. One large earthquake, and they bury everything here. They're showing one earthquake and they bury the rest. One large earthquake here and they bury the rest. What kind of crap is that, USGS? Why are you not showing these earthquakes? Yes, these are in the Ryukyu Islands of Japan. Why are you not showing this? You show us, USGS, a 4.4 moderate quake when there's actually a 5.0 there, as well as 99 other earthquakes. USGS is saying there's 211 earthquakes worldwide. I just got through showing you 100 more earthquakes just south of Japan by itself. 25 earthquakes in Indonesia that they're not showing anything there. Folks, there's something else that you need to know, especially those people that are over in Australia that we speak to in Australia that join us here. Over off the the central eastern part of Australia. The central eastern part of Australia, Douglas Park, NSW, Australia, we have a 3.5 here. A 3.5. Now, we don't often get earthquakes there, but we have them today. USGS, Doesn't show anything in Australia either. Not a thing. Now, I'm going to go further up here, over here to northern Honshu, Japan, just off the coast here. This is 22 miles east-southeast of Onfunatu, Japan. It's a 5.5 large earthquake, a mid-range 5.5 very large earthquake over here just off the coast of Honshu. This is 35 miles deep as well. This is in the crust. This is a tectonic plate earthquake. Okay? Let's go over here to Kamchatka Peninsula. And I'm not letting USGS off here. I want to show you this. Over here at the Kamchatka Peninsula, this is the beginning, the western side of the Aleutian Islands, of the Aleutian Island fault zone. The great big huge underwater trench that runs from here all the way to Alaska. This is a 4.8 earthquake here. 49 miles offshore. Look at this one. This is a large 5.0, 6.3 miles deep. Okay? Right there on the Aleutian Island fault zone east of Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. Okay? Incredible, huh? We've had a lot of large earthquakes all around the Pacific, haven't we? Oh yeah. And a lot more. So far, guys, again, USGS has it as 212 earthquakes by their own count around the world. Now, I've got this almost at 400 without going anywhere else or doing anything else. Okay? I've got it almost at 400 here. Over here in the Turkey-Syria area, there are about 60 earthquakes here as a result of a major earthquake that happened over here several months back. A 9.0, 10.0 magnitude earthquake hit here. USGS said, oh, it's only a 7.4. Bullcrap. I call bullcrap on it. There was a huge, great big huge fissure that opened up in the earth in Turkey that ran for 14 miles. The fissure was 8 stories deep. They could have put an 8-story building down in that fissure and it still would be in the fissure. 14-mile long fissure. A 7.4 earthquake doesn't do that. I know for a fact what these 9.0 earthquakes have done. I have covered 9.0 earthquakes in the past. I've covered them. I've told about them. When USGS said, oh, they didn't happen, Ron Tyler's off his rocker. Really? About 2 years ago. No, it's been longer than that. 3 years ago. 3 years ago down in Antarctica, there was an earthquake that USGS said was a 7.0 earthquake. At the time, I called baloney on them. All of our investigation showed it to be very much a large earthquake. So we did a lot of digging. Terry and I found that earthquake to be a 9.0 earthquake. It also opened up a fissure in the ice, 12 miles long. A couple months after that earthquake, an agency possibly affiliated with the Antarctic stations that are down there put up a plane. And they saw and chronicled a 12-mile long large fissure that opened in the ice as a result of the 9.0 earthquake. Then and only then did USGS change their mind and come clean. It's happened too many other times. I do know what I'm talking about, regardless of what this stupid butthead agency says. And I get accused all the time of putting this agency down. There was a time in my life I respected them. All kinds of respect. How can you respect an agency that continually denies that earthquakes happen? They don't list them on their maps. Oh, Ron must be off his rocker. And I can show you more and more earthquakes that are happening. Already today, I've shown you 2 5.0 magnitude earthquakes that were not on the USGS map because they're too damn lazy to get their nose out of their own butts and to kiss that guy named Joe Biden's butt. Stop kissing butt and do your job, or I'm going to apply for it, and I'd probably get it. Folks, I'm sorry I act this way, but I'm so tired of people dying. I'm so tired of people getting hurt, and this agency not taking any responsibility for anything, not reporting the information. 60 earthquakes over there in Turkey today. Nobody taking any responsibility for them. Earthquakes over here in the Middle East, except for this one here, down here in the Arabian Gulf here. This is a 4.4 moderate earthquake here. This is, they say, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Can we trust it? Look where it's on. It's on an earthquake fault, right there, just north of Somalia. There's a bunch of other earthquakes there, all around this area, and USGS says nothing about them. Earthquakes over here in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Iran and Iraq, they're not saying word one about them. Not one word. I don't get it. I don't get it. There are earthquakes all over this area here. This is the central Mediterranean. You see the island of Crete here. There's probably 15 other earthquakes just here in what they call the Dokanese Islands. These island formations here closer to Turkey but belonging to Greece. Earthquakes all over this area. Over here north of Greece, this is a 4.2 moderate earthquake, 6.2, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Earthquakes over here in Crete, they're not telling us about. Earthquakes all over here in Greece. About 25 earthquakes here in Greece that they're not telling us about. Over here in Italy, there's 35 earthquakes from south to northern Italy. And they're not showing us one of them. Not one of them. Why not? We have earthquakes down here in Sicily. Why are they not talking about them? Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know. You want to know. You have reason to want to know about it. There are good reasons to know what's going on. Okay? Romania. Look at this. Romania, there's a 3.8. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. That's a 3.8. And all around it here to the north and west, 3.1 in Hungary. Bosnia-Herzegovina, we have a 2.4. In Serbia, we have a 1.6. That's the smallest earthquake among them. Okay? Look at all these earthquakes in Greece. I swear, guys, I swear, I get really ticked off. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My phone is acting up right now, and it says I don't have an internet connection, which I do. But I'm going to show you some earthquakes nonetheless here. Okay? Right here. See where it says 20 earthquakes over here? See where it says 20 earthquakes? Folks, that is France, Germany, Austria, and northern Italy in the Alps. 20 plus earthquakes right there. 20 plus earthquakes right there. Now, see those two earthquakes right together right there? Those are in France. Those are in France. One of them is a 2.0 magnitude earthquake. The other is also a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. Those two earthquakes right there. Okay? There's one more. This is over near Brittany, France. Right on the northwestern border of France. This is a 2.6 earthquake. A 2.6 earthquake. Out into the water there is English Channel. English Channel. I want to take you north from there over into Denmark. It's not often we see an earthquake in Denmark. This is a 1.8 tremor in Denmark today. Okay? We go north into Norway. We have a 1.30 earthquake in Norway. Another tremor. We go over to Finland. We have a 1.9 magnitude tremor in Finland, in northern Finland, and another one here of a 1.8. As we talked about before, Finland, Norway, and Denmark and Sweden used to have no earthquakes at all ever reported, period. Not by the agency, USGS, and not by the countries. Now it's getting more and more prevalent to see earthquakes in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland. It's happening more and more. It's the last days. We talk about this profusely. It's the last days. Okay. Southern Spain is right here. Southern Spain is right here. These earthquakes are just minor earthquakes, okay? All we're getting is 1.6s, 2.6s, 2.4, 1.90 in the Strait of Gibraltar, and 2.8 in the Strait of Gibraltar right there. Okay? In the Strait of Gibraltar. On the other side of that, over near Portugal, in the Azores, Cabo de San Vicente, we have a 2.7 and a 2.3 there. Just in the waters west of Portugal in the Azores there. 2.3 and a 2.7 magnitude earthquake. The Canary Islands, folks, the Canary Islands, guys, this is again over at oh gosh, I can't. I'm going to pull out my other device here to give you some cohesive information here of where these earthquakes are, because my phone is screwed up. I'm getting a new phone. I have insurance on my phone. I'm getting a new phone any day now, and we're going to be able to talk about anything and do anything and go anywhere with that new phone. It'll have all kinds of cool features on it. Anyway, we don't have to use a phone. I've got my tablet here. Okay? This is in the Canary Islands, and this is just off the coast of one of the Canary Islands that we've talked about before. Okay? It's a 1.9 tremor there. Just off the coast of, and I can't remember the name of that island there. Oh shoot. It's the island where we reported fires about a week and a half ago that were engulfing the island. They had to evacuate people off the island. Anyway, huge fires. Now the fires are somewhat under control, and hopefully people start to be able to go back to that island and to their homes and to see what happened there. Okay? That's what we hope. Okay? That's all that we can hope for there. Now, I want to take you over here to Iceland. Again, they're not showing any earthquakes at all in Iceland. Over on the north shore of Iceland here, folks, we have a 1.0 magnitude tremor just off the north coast of Iceland. But we still have 10 plus earthquakes over here that we need to talk about. And all these earthquakes are on the main part of Iceland. You see these earthquakes near these glaciers, guys? These glaciers are volcanoes. These glaciers are volcanoes. Okay? The earthquake to the north, Bardarbunga, 1.7. South of there we have a 1.0. 1.0, and on the other side of that glacier, and again under that glacier is a volcano. This is Bardarbunga. It's a 1.7 tremor there. Most of these earthquakes today on Iceland are nothing more than tremors. 1.0 on this other glacier here. 1.0 right there. Okay? We go south, 1.1. Then we go over to this peninsula here. This peninsula just south of that. Okay? Okay, let me get back here. Okay, over on this southern peninsula here, we have a bunch more tremors. There's a 1.4 tremor there, and two others here out onto the peninsula itself, 1.1, 1.1 and a 1.7, 1.1 and a 1.7 there. Now we only have these ones on Iceland right now. USGS, they don't want to even talk about these earthquakes at all. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 earthquakes here. 11 earthquakes on Iceland, and USGS doesn't show any of them. 11 earthquakes. How about one up into Canada? Quebec, Canada. This is a 1.91 magnitude earthquake. A 1.91 magnitude earthquake up here in the northern part of Quebec, Canada. Okay? Now, why did I show you that? Do you know the reason I showed you that? This is over in the upper part, the northern part of the Eastern Continental Divide. This is over in the northern part of the Eastern Continental Divide. That earthquake right there. The northern part of the Eastern Continental Divide. We've been talking about the Eastern Continental Divide a lot lately, haven't we? Bunches of earthquakes, right? Oh yeah. Now, on this map that I'm showing you here, my location is marked with a blue dot. Just north of my town that I live in, probably not more than 50 miles away from me in Kentucky, Cumberland, Kentucky, we have a 2.4 magnitude earthquake. See that dot? That's where I live. So this is just north of me by about 50 miles. Okay? We go over to the New Madrid Fault that we were talking about last night. Marston, Missouri, with a 1.7 earthquake. A 1.71 earthquake. Tremor, Missouri. Clinton, Arkansas, with a 2.0. How many earthquakes do we see in Arkansas and Missouri that were 3.0 and even 4.0 earthquakes yesterday? And yet USGS shows us a tremor and a minor earthquake over there on the New Madrid Fault. They're not showing us diddly squat. They really aren't. They don't give a flying rat's butt what happens. They really don't give a flying rat's butt what happens. They don't care. They as much don't even give a darn at all. Okay? They just don't give a darn. Now, folks, we know for a fact that we have earthquakes literally all over this area. All over the United States. We know what's going on. We're not stupid. USGS might think that we're stupid, but we're not. We have earthquakes that they want to say are nothing more than tremors and minor quakes, and yet I just got through showing you small 3.0, 3.9 and moderate 4.0 to 4.5 earthquakes all over the New Madrid Fault. But they don't want to admit to it at all. Earthquake today in southern Mexico right here. This, folks, is very concerning. Look where it's at. Look where this earthquake is at. This is in Emiliano Zapata, Mexico. This is in the resort area of southern Mexico. A large 5.8, an upper 5.8 earthquake hit here in Mexico today. And then they're showing this 5.6 here. A 5.8 and a 5.6, and these may have been larger earthquakes than that. Why am I hammering on this? Why? Because, folks, people get killed with this size of an earthquake. This is in the resort areas just south of Acapulco, Zihuatanejo, Manzanillo, just south of those resort areas. Right here is Puerto Vallarta. This energy here that caused these earthquakes to happen is here, and it's going to be moving north. It's going to be moving north. There's a lot more earthquakes there than they're even telling us about. Again, they don't give a flying rat's butt what happens. Okay? Look at the earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Look at that. Over 30 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. And now 5.6 and 5.8 earthquakes happen in the resort areas of southern Mexico. What's wrong with that picture? What's wrong with that picture? That energy is moving north. Over here near Cabo San Lucas, we have a 3.4. A 3.4 right there. Over in northern Baja, we have a 3.5 and a 3.3 near San Felipe. 3.5 and a 3.3 near San Felipe on the east coast of Baja. We go north. We go north here, guys. Why am I concerned? I've told you about the earthquake that hit April 3rd 2010 in Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico, along the United States-Mexican border. Right here. We have a 3.6 earthquake right here. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico, along the US-Mexican border. Why am I concerned? Because, folks, the last time we had an earthquake there in 2010, it was a 7.1 major earthquake. It may have been even larger. I was in San Diego at the time. I saw what happened, and I've told you what happened. Folks, I'm not scared, but I am very, very concerned about the population of this area. I'm very concerned because they have no clue what's about to happen. And yet I've been explaining that to you for quite some time. I'm very concerned. Now, we continue having earthquakes all over California. Literally. Earthquakes all over California. And we're not done here. We're not even close to being done. Folks, I'm going up here only to show you what's going on here in the Cascadia area. Off the coast of Oregon, Port Orford, Oregon. This is a 3.3 small earthquake. Just east of the Blanco fracture zone in the Cascadia subduction zone region here. This is about the 5th or 6th earthquake that we've had here in the past 2 weeks. Okay? Let's go south. In the Cascade Mountain region of Northern California today. I want to show you what happened today. And I'm going to show you seismographs from this area in just a few minutes. Folks, USGS said it was a 5.0 earthquake. I think it was much larger than that. I think this earthquake right south of Mount Shasta and just north of Mount Lassen, right smack dab in the middle between Shasta and Lassen, we had one 5.0 earthquake. They say it was 5.0. I think it was a 5.3. Earlier today, they were only showing 1 foreshock and 2 aftershocks. Now this earthquake that just happened here near Bernie, California, this is a 2.1. Just happened. This is a 2.4. This is a foreshock. This is the only foreshock, a 2.4. Look at all these other earthquakes that have hit here. Okay? 2.3 Fall River Mills, California. And that's where they say that 5.0 is. Fall River Mills, California. Here's a 2.3. This is a 2.1. This is a 2.5. This is a 2.1. This is a 2.4. And this one further south, a 2.5. So we've had a large earthquake in the Cascade Mountain region. In the Cascade Mountain region. Why am I concerned? Okay? Terry Rempel and I told you years ago that if we had at least 2 4.5 or large earthquakes in the Cascade Mountain region, not offshore, not out in the coast at all, in the Cascade Mountain region. So far we've had numerous 4s here. We've had several large 5s though. Just like this is today, a 5.0. Further south here, just about 2.5, 3 months ago, Lake Alamanor. We told you and reported about this earthquake to you after it hit. Lake Alamanor. There were 2 other earthquakes here, a 5.1 and a 5.3. Terry Rumpels told us that the earthquakes here also count in the ranking of large earthquakes in the Cascade Mountain region, because this is just south and still in the Cascade, considered to be in the Cascade Mountains. Today we have a 2.1 earthquake here. We had over 500 earthquakes here at Lake Alamanor in this area right after it happened, and within a week after it happening. So now we've got like 5 4.0 and larger earthquakes, 4.5 and larger earthquakes since we've been talking about the Cascadia megathrust earthquake happening. Now folks, I'm not sure where we're going to go with the Cascade Mountain region and all these earthquakes. Terry and I once told all of you all we had to have is at least 2 4.5 or larger earthquakes, and within a very short time period, maybe 2 weeks, we would have the Cascade megathrust earthquake, the Cascadia megathrust earthquake. It still has not happened, but we're still seeing a buildup of pressure here in the Cascadia region. Last year, we had a 6.8 earthquake here off the coast of Ferndale, California. A 6.8 earthquake down here just off the coast of Ferndale. And I believe it was an 8.0, not a 6.4. Regardless of what USGS said, I showed you evidence that this was an 8.0 earthquake, a large 8.0 earthquake. So we continue having very strong major earthquakes. That 8.0 is a major quake. We continue having large earthquakes in this region as well, just as we had today between Lassen and Shasta. Let's get out of this earthquake map. I'm done with them. Totally done. Folks, this is supposed to be a seismogram from Mount Shasta. However, this is gobbledygook. This is another attempt by USGS to give us false information about Shasta. This is abstract. This is nothing but crap. There are 11 other seismographs all around these volcanoes. 11 around Mount Shasta and 11 around Mount Lassen and almost all the other Cascade Mountain volcanoes. But they have the gall. They have the unmitigated gall to show us gobbledygook, such as this one here. This is LBO seismograph. This is on the north side of Shasta. This seismograph has not been operational apparently for a little over 2 years now. They've not showed us anything from LBO here in 2 years. Yet this same seismograph was giving us information like we see at Bombay Beach. Like I've been showing you at Bombay Beach for a long time now. And now, down over on the New Madrid Fault in Arkansas. Same kind of earthquakes. Yet USGS is not showing us what is going on anymore here, because they don't believe they have to. Folks, this is one seismograph here at Mount Shasta. Seismograph LD is in David L. Lincoln, David Lincoln. Look what we're seeing here. Okay? Up at the top early this morning. Actually, this is yesterday at 12:30 noon yesterday. This is showing a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Shasta. Then it backs off, or they've turned down the seismograph. And you can see where it says midnight over here on the left-hand side. Midnight last night, early this morning. Then you see some tremors building up here. Just minor tremors here. Over on each line here represents a 15-minute time period. Again, you're seeing magma buildup, magma pouring into the volcano here. It's not showing much of it, but there's still magma on every line here. This is called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals, P-U-L-S-E, where the line gets thicker and thinner, called magma pulse signals, showing the magma coming into the volcano chamber here. Okay? Look what we see here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what are we seeing here at LDL? This is what they want to show us of the 5.0 magnitude earthquake just south of Mount Shasta, right between Shasta and Mount Lassen. The top and the bottom of this seismic event was cut off, isn't it? Because they don't want us to know how strong it was. This is what this agency does. They don't and can't be honest. Over here, this is just one of the two seismographs. They're showing us any kind of information about this earthquake. This is showing us more information than the previous seismograph. Look what we're seeing here. See that 5.0? Now they're showing it a bit larger, aren't they? Oh, heck yes. Now look closely on this seismograph. You're seeing vertical lines with curlicues. What is that? That vertical line with the curlicue is steam that is coming from Mount Lassen. Or no, I'm sorry, not Mount Lassen, this is Shasta. Steam coming from Mount Shasta. Look at these other earthquakes as well. Notice when this big earthquake hit. Allegedly a 5.0 earthquake hit. That was huge. The earthquake lasted about 10 minutes. This earthquake lasted 10 minutes. Okay? That's a lot of shaking. Look at these other aftershocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 aftershocks. They're only showing us a handful of aftershocks on the map. But look at it. Look at the foreshocks. Look what's happening at just about 0930 this morning. Those are also foreshocks. Tremors and minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.4, 2.5s, being recorded at Shasta. Okay? This is showing you a lot of information, right? Oh, heck yes. Look at this. This is Mount Lassen. This is LDB, Lincoln David Baker. Lincoln David Baker. Let me back this off a little bit so you can see the entire seismograph. Okay? It'll be easier to understand if we show you the entire seismograph. Look at this. Again, the top of this is yesterday afternoon. Look what we're showing you here. Each line represents 15 minutes of time. You see magma coming into this magma chamber at Mount Lassen at a significant rate. Magma pulse signals. Magma pouring in here to Mount Lassen here, a volcano. On each individual line, you may see vertical lines here. Those are tremors and or earthquakes that are occurring because that magma is coming in under such pressure, it's causing tremors and earthquakes of its own. The red lines are computer generated here, guys, on all of these seismograms. The red lines are computer generated, so the seismologist that looks at this will go, oh my gosh, this is important. Yes, it is. Look at all the tremors here. Look at all the minor earthquakes as well. Okay? Look at those lines with curlicues on them. Steam, guys. Mount Lassen is also steaming. Mount Lassen is also steaming. What a concept. Again, last night, 2200 hours, that's 10 p.m. on the left-hand side. 10 p.m. Pacific time. That's an awful lot of magma coming into Mount Lassen last night. Okay? And you're still seeing vertical lines, meaning the magma is causing rocks to fracture, causing minor and small earthquakes. Look at these lines here, guys. Look at these lines. They're not just steam lines. Minor and small earthquakes happening at Mount Lassen. Then all of a sudden, we have some minor earthquakes happening at just after 9:30 a.m. this morning, and other small earthquakes and minor earthquakes after the 5.0 earthquake hit just north of Mount Lassen and south of Shasta. This is how they're reporting this earthquake here at Mount Lassen. Okay? Look how long it lasted. They cut off the top and the bottom so we do not see the seismic waves. That is disgusting to me because we deserve to see the documentation. But the red is generated by the computer. Look off to the right of that. What do we see off to the right of that? I've explained this before. That is a secondary wave. The secondary wave is reduced seismicity. Reduced seismicity. And you can see at 10:30, almost 10:31 a.m., this morning, after that earthquake hit, you can see some tremors hitting. Why? Because that secondary wave, you can see vertical lines through it, right? And when that secondary wave dissipates and goes into a body wave, we can still see minor earthquakes and tremors after that. Look at the aftershocks. Look at the aftershocks here. Look how differently they depict the aftershocks here at Mount Lassen compared to the seismogram over at Mount Shasta. Okay? I wanted you to see this. This is just one of the other large earthquakes, this one happening on the west coast of North America. And you can see the activity of these volcanoes. The volcanoes don't stop. The volcanoes don't stop, guys. This is Seismograph LDB, Lincoln David Baker, at Mount Shasta or Mount Lassen this morning. Look at this. Look at all that activity this morning. Raymond Royce Sr. says, was it bigger one that hit USGS playing it low? Yes. That's what they're doing here. They're not showing the seismic waves of this earthquake. They've topped the bottom and topped the top. They don't want us to see exactly what happened. My question to them right now is why? And on Monday, they're going to get an earful from me. Because guess what? I've got a meeting at 9 a.m. and I will be talking to them and specifically asking why that they decide to alter the seismographs. Why? Why are they altering the seismographs and cutting the energy off? We want to see the whole thing. And I'm going to call them on the carpet. Hurricane Heather says it had to be bigger. It might have been bigger. You told us that it shook you hard. Look at the time element. Look at this time element. This earthquake lasted several minutes. Yes, it might have been stronger than what they're saying it was. Of course. They want to downplay it so they don't get anybody worried about it. Well, guess what, guys? They have a lot of people worried now. We've talked about emergency planning. We've talked about earthquakes. We've talked about hurricanes. I'm showing you the information that you needed to see. This is serious. This is dead cotton picking serious. Now, I want to talk to you about preparedness. This is National Preparedness Month. Already we've seen a lot of thunderstorms and tornadoes. A lot of us have even seen tornado warnings, and we need to all take tornado and thunderstorm warnings seriously. I put this presentation together in 2016, 7 years ago. It's still valid today. Admit it. Every one of us needs to admit this. When the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning, what do most of us do? How do most of us respond? Oh, gee whiz. Oh, it's nothing. We yawn at it. Yeah, most of us sit there and yawn. Oh, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Oh, don't worry. It's not going to really affect me. Well, maybe we should start paying attention. So far this year, we've had 8 United States national disasters that have caused $1 billion or more in damage. That one hurricane down in Florida so far. We've had fires. We've had tornadoes. According to the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, 6 of those billion-dollar disasters were severe thunderstorms. The tally doesn't include what's been happening in Virginia. They've had flooding. Other areas of the country have also had flooding. 7 of the 8 disasters were in Texas. Flooding, tornadoes, and thunderstorms in Texas. Apparently, Mother Nature disagrees with the slogan, "Don't mess with Texas." A thunderstorm is severe if it does one of 3 things. A thunderstorm is severe if it has winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. A thunderstorm is severe if it produces hail at least an inch or larger in diameter. Does any of this sound familiar to anybody? A thunderstorm is severe if it creates a tornado. What happened in Florida? All of these components can be dangerous to both people and property. Property damage can be in the millions to billions of dollars. We have wind, down power lines, down trees. Severe thunderstorms can bring gusts of 100-mile-per-hour winds or more. Severe thunderstorms like that are equivalent to an EF1 tornado. High winds can knock down power lines, top off branches, and topple branches and trees onto homes and cars. It can knock vehicles off the road. I have seen it. It has happened to me. According to weather.com, in 2014, high winds from thunderstorms killed 33 people and injured 240. That weekend, 3 people drowned in Lake Michigan when high winds whipped up the water. Because people can't stay off the water, can they? The Weather Service can issue high wind advisories and stay off the water advisories all they want. But then we have people that go, oh, it's not going to happen to me, it's okay. And the high winds whip up the water, and all of a sudden we have 5 and 6 foot windbreakers, water surges. We get flooding, knocked out power, and people getting killed. Prepare for high wind by removing dead and rotting trees and branches from around your home. Pay attention to weather reports and be willing to change your plans. Is this hitting home with anybody? Change your plans. Don't become a statistic. Don't become a statistic. Hours before the Lake Michigan drownings, the National Weather Service issued a beach hazard statement that warned of dangerous swimming conditions. If weather reports say a severe thunderstorm is coming, bring in your patio furniture and other things that can become projectiles. We talked about this during thunderstorms and tornadoes. Bring in your patio furniture and anything else that could become a projectile. I saw a 2x4 embedded and right through a palm tree. I've seen a 2x4 become embedded in the side of someone's house. Imagine a 2x4 penetrating a house and going through the outside and the inside walls and possibly hitting someone on the other side because they are sitting or standing on the other side of that wall. Bring in anything from outside that might be used as a projectile by the wind. Keep a cooler and ice around to store food in case of a power outage. After the storm passes, remain cautious. Assume down power lines are still active. Lightning. Every year, lightning kills an average of 51 people and injured hundreds of others. A home in South Florida had its walls shredded by a lightning strike. I have seen that happen. I've seen walls and homes shredded by a lightning strike. I saw lightning go down a fireplace flue from above the roof and down inside the home. When the lightning hit the inside brick of the fireplace, it blew it out. There was an explosion of lightning inside that fireplace box, and there was nothing left of that fireplace. The home caught on fire. If it hadn't been with some proactive parents, the family may have been killed because the parents had fire extinguishers and put out that fire after the lightning went down through the flue down into the firebox of their fireplace in Colorado. In Littleton, Colorado. My friends. It happened to my own friends. If there are weather reports and the weather reports are asking you to take shelter, do it. Don't question it. If lightning is in the vicinity, get inside. Stay away from windows, stay away from doors and plumbing. Don't touch plumbing during an electrical storm. Don't touch a bathroom fixture. If lightning were to hit your house and it hit the plumbing of your house, that water in your toilet or your sink could be electrified and you could be dead. Down deep, deader than a doornail. I've seen it. Seek shelter if lightning is in the vicinity. Stay away from windows, doors, and plumbing. Bathroom fixtures can conduct electricity. Unplug electrical devices and protect them from storm surges. Now, let's talk about hail. Some of you have seen large pieces of hail, anywhere from the size of a dime, a quarter, and even the size of a hand. A great big huge hailstone, the size of a hand. I've seen that. At least half of the cost of damage from severe thunderstorms is from hail. A quarter-size hail ball can damage roof and shingles. It can shatter the windshield of your car. It did mine. A golf ball size hail can dent your vehicle. I've had that happen too. My vehicle looked like it had measles. These little pock holes all over my vehicle. Baseball-sized hail can smash windshields, and softball-sized hail can poke holes in roofs all over. If a severe thunderstorm warning says large hail is possible, try to be and find a covered place for a vehicle and find shelter. Flash flooding. Even so far this year, we've talked about flash flooding. Flash flooding is the biggest killer from thunderstorms, taking more lives than 140 people every year. Prepare for floods by making an emergency plan. How many times have I asked you, all of you, and your families and all of your neighbors and friends, to write an emergency preparedness plan with alternate travel routes to shelters. 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock a person down, and 2 feet can sweep a car away. Pay attention to flash flood warnings. Tornadoes. Tornadoes. From the time I was a boy in Fargo, North Dakota, I have seen tornadoes. I saw what a tornado did to my friend's house. It took an old dishwasher and deposited it on their roof. I saw a tornado go into a gasoline station 7 miles away and destroy it in one fell swoop. The gas station blew up. From 7 miles away, you can see fire going up into the air where that gas station had been. A thunderstorm can quickly become a tornado warning if the storm develops enough rotation. If a storm develops enough rotation, get shelter immediately. A severe thunderstorm warning can include the following warning. Severe thunderstorms can and sometimes do produce tornadoes. How many of us have seen that come through on our emergency radios or over on our television stations? All the time. And they can happen with little or no advance warnings. Treat a thunderstorm like a tornado warning. Treat a thunderstorm warning like a tornado warning. Severe thunderstorms are frequent enough to be easily ignored. Yet, a severe thunderstorm can cause severe damage. So far this year, they've accounted for more than $10 billion. 10B is in billion dollars in damage, and they've killed 17 people. The next time the National Weather Service announces a severe thunderstorm warning, don't shrug it off. Get busy. Seek protection and save your family's lives. Now, we've talked about La Nina, we've talked about La Nino, or El Nino, excuse me. La Nina and El Nino. El Nino did a lot of damage in past years. We've seen El Nino storm across California, break heat records in Asia, drop crops on the ground and burn them. And years ago, it may have helped spread the Zika virus, the Zika virus. I saw it happen. But now, that is gone. Is it dead? I don't think so. Because our governments are thinking of new ways to kill us all. Be aware of different weather conditions, whether it's La Nina or El Nino. Be careful. Don't turn up dead. These viruses and these weather conditions happen at the blink of an eye. It happens. The La Nina effect, just like any good story. The threat you thought posed the biggest problem was just the beginning. Following El Nino's wake is his just as powerful sister, La Nina, the event in which the Pacific waters are cooled, as opposed to El Nino heating of those same waters. Okay, so mini La Nina isn't going to pose a huge threat. Actually, there will be some nice benefits to it, including a boost to the southwest monsoon. Ask Rob about his monsoon. Ask your friends in Utah about the monsoon that hit there. How about monsoons in India? Thousands of people were killed by monsoons in India, Thailand, Vietnam, Burma, all over. All over. In some cases, these kinds of storms might be a blessing after years of drought. But if there's been years of drought, the foliage, the vegetation on the ground has turned brittle and gone. Then all of a sudden we have out of control floodwaters that kill people, and they kill people dead. La Nina is said to reduce global temperatures, really, helping out with heat and heat waves, reducing heat wave factors in Asia and other locations. Sure, some good will come from the La Nina, but there will also be some adverse effects. Since she is yet to come, we don't know for certain what these effects will be, but we have some good ideas. Rob and I talked about the monsoon storms that went through Arizona. I talked to Don and several other people in Utah where the monsoons ripped through there and caused all kinds of damage. Okay? La Nina will most likely bring much drier conditions in the southern plains, the Rockies, and the Southwest. Lower temperatures and increased rainfall is expected in the Pacific Northwest and Ohio Valley. When it comes to the Atlantic hurricane season, however, things can escalate, and they are. Experts expect to see 14 named storms this year during the Atlantic hurricane season. Major hurricanes. 4 of those are going to be major hurricanes. Compared to last year's 11, 12 named storms and just 2 major hurricanes, if this prediction's accurate, there will be a significant increase in powerful storms. If this ends up being the case, as only time is going to tell, then what can we do now, right this minute and in the days to come? How many times have I been asking everybody to prepare now? To prepare now. To prepare now. We may not have any more time left. It could happen tomorrow, the next day, or next week, but it will happen. If this ends up being the case, as only time will tell, we're going to be having our heads rolling around, trying to help people prepare for those storms and saving people's lives. Get your emergency gear together. Write your emergency plans. Power sources such as light, warmth, food, water, first aid and other gear that you're going to need to weather whatever comes your way. If a hurricane doesn't visit your area, then you'll still be prepared for what other unfortunate events could come your way. You may not have a hurricane, but you will have other events come your way. Be prepared. It's not just a Boy Scout slogan. It is, however, a way of life. It is a lifestyle, guys. It is a lifestyle. Now, I want to talk about a couple more things here and then we'll get out of here. A few weeks ago, we heard that Governor Abbott and his teams were trying to slow down the people crossing the border because of Biden's out-of-control border policies. People crossing the Rio Grande and drowning. So, Governor Abbott put these floating buoys out in the middle of the river. Not on the Mexican side, but on the middle of the river, dividing Mexico from the United States. Well, they pretty much worked. At first, it was said that people were drowning because they were getting out there and these round balls were not helping anybody. The round balls were turning on a line there, a steel line. So the people could not grab a handhold or an arm hold on these balls because they're constantly turning. So yes, after a short while, these buoys out in the middle of the Rio Grande were having its effect to keep people in Mexico and not dying in the middle of the river. Then, that stupid butthole, Mr. Biden, decided that he was going to file suit against Texas and Governor Abbott. So he went to the United States federal criminal courts and filed a case against Governor Abbott and the state of Texas. All of a sudden, Governor Abbott was being told to remove the balls. Well, Governor Abbott and the state of Texas decided, let's fight back. So they went to the U.S. Court of Appeals in Texas, the United States Court of Appeals. And this time they won. Let me show you this. Okay? As of this morning, this was an unpublished order, but it is now being published. The state of Texas and Governor Abbott have won. The United States Court of Appeals issued an injunction against Biden. Biden wanted an injunction against Texas and Governor Abbott to pull those buoys off the river. Governor Abbott turned it around. And now those buoys can stay. Now those buoys can stay. The United States Court of Appeals for the 5th District ruled in favor of Governor Abbott and the state of Texas, and those buoys demarcating the border of the United States and Mexico can stay in the Rio Grande. They're doing their job. They're preventing unlawful, undocumented people from Mexico and every country around the world, from coming helter-skelter into the United States from crossing the river. So in this case, the balls have done their job. The buoys in the river have done their job. If only we could shut down the people at the fence line. 2 weeks ago, that idiot Joe Biden put his crews out on the border fence. and cut the border fence and put in a gate and welded the gate open to allow unfettered access by anyone wanting to cross the border. The President of the United States has violated federal law. He's also destroyed government property, i.e. the fence. The fence was put there to keep people from crossing into the country. And yet Biden's crews have welded it open to allow anybody to come in at any time. We win some and we lose some. Fortunately, we did win over in Texas, at least for a short time. Now, I want to share something in closing. This is going to be my devotional to you. I wanted to publish this song for a while. I can publish the song. I can publish the lyrics. I can play the song for you. I can play the song for you. And that's what I'm planning to do right now. This song is called My Heavenly Father Loves Me. I'm going to pull the lyrics while this song is playing so you can read the lyrics to this song. I learned this song when I was a little boy. It's one of my favorite pieces. God bless you, my brothers and sisters. I love you more than you will even know. Thank you for all that you do for me, for all that you do for each other. Thank you for your donations to our program. Whether it's here in the Super Chat, or whether you donate to our Venmo or to our PayPal locations, or you send us letters and support inside cards and letters. We do appreciate and love that as well. But brothers and sisters, this is My Heavenly Father Loves Me. Have a good night and a better tomorrow. If anything else happens, we'll be back here to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Have a good night, folks. God bless.